Burn it to the ground, that's my advice.
What are be clean sound?
Hello friends, welcome back to ReddX, Trace Amounts of Science. Today we're getting back into r/NeckbeardStories, trying to wrap up the tale of two neckbeards and a legbeard, Mike and Janice. And you can't forget Declan, the Burger King kid. There were 2 episodes previously. Check them out if you would like. We're going to venture through 3 parts today. Might run a little long, so let's get it started, shall we? Thanks so much for being here. I hope that you'll enjoy. Living with 2 neckbeards and a legbeard, part number 5. Oh my goodness. Hey Reddit peoples, so the plan for this post was originally to talk about the drama that led to Carrie and myself finally moving out of the neckbeard nest that had once been our flat, but Carrie and a couple of other friends who know about these posts have informed me that they might have some screenshots or be able to get a hold of some screenshots of posts and messages from the clan that some folks might find interesting. Well, yeah, screenshots really sweeten the pot, doesn't it? So the plan now is just to post a couple of anecdotes about life with the beards right now and wait on those screenshots. Yeah, sure. Well, why not? I'm buckled in. We come this far. Yeah, the previous 4 parts. Today we have the gym flirting incident. So as you folks will know by now, if you've seen my previous posts, Declan was a big fan of the gym. When he wasn't lying on our sofa bed eating and watching Netflix, he'd be at the gym. Well, you see, there's balance in all things. I need to vegetate so I can be super strong at the gym. In Declan's mind, this made him insanely attractive to girls. He thought that having muscles and that manly scent of showering only once a fortnight was enough to make him absolutely irresistible. I mean, it's worth a shot. Kind of not a great track record so far, but hey, maybe your sweaty nutsack princess is out there somewhere, you know? Just keep hope alive. Spoiler alert, none of it worked. Of course. Unfortunately, Carrie and I were not there to witness this particular event. God, how I wish we had been. Instead, this tale was told to us by a mutual friend. See, Declan had a group of about 3 guys who he frequented the gym with, mutual friend included. I was going to make a comment about how they managed to deal with the awful scent, but we were living with him, so I guess I wasn't really one to talk. Yeah, he gets really sweaty there and comes home smelling even worse. On this particular day at the gym, Declan and his gym buddies had been lifting some weights when Declan headed off to another side of the gym. Thinking something was wrong, our mutual friend, Kyle, followed him. Turns out that everything was fine, for Declan at least. He'd just seen a girl that he found very attractive and had decided to follow her to the rowing machines to try and strike up a conversation. Or more accurately, to make some really gross comments, commend her, a female, for taking such good care of herself and just generally making this poor girl really uncomfortable. Yeah, I think it's fine to make a pass, but at least be a normal human being about it. Or if you want a really crazy idea, you could just, treat her like a human being. Practice your social skills on a real female for just a little bit. See what happens. I don't know. He's got all this pretense about it, and I'm sure that's what's part of what's making it really weird. So as you can probably guess, this girl didn't fall for his creepy attempts at flirting and opted to move over to the treadmills to get away from him. Kyle managed to get Declan to stay on the rowing machines for a little while and tried to keep him away from this girl who understandably wanted nothing to do with him. Eventually, though, Declan decided to try again, because it's not like that girl was 100% clear about her wants when she ignored his advances and moved as far away from him as humanly possible. Yeah, there's still something left to interpretation there. So Declan hops onto the treadmill beside her and decides he's going to impress her by increasing the speed and steepness. I don't know, folks, I don't really know the gym terms of the machine. I think it's the incline, but yeah, you're good. I absolutely hate running. Running uphill, you would have to be some sort of masochist, truly. Now, I don't know about you folks, but in my limited experience with gyms, and from what Kyle told me, there's this little disc thing in the machine that's attached to a string. So you clip the string to your clothes while you're running on the machine, and if you happen to fall off, the string pulls the disc out, and the machine would stop. Yeah, I think it's magnetic a lot of places, but totally, something like that. Declan did not attach the string to his clothes. Apparently, he thought that was for wusses. Because as we all know now, real men don't need safety. It's more manly if you do it the dipshit way. There's so much truth in that statement. Yeah. If you're not missing a body part, haven't been mutilated or mangled in some way, then are you truly a man? Go blow up some fireworks in your hand. I'm sure y'all see where this is going. From what Kyle told us, Declan didn't try to speak to the girl, instead deciding that she would just be blown away by how athletic he was. This, of course, did not happen. I love it. Why wouldn't you just say hello? She's never gonna look over and be like, oh my god, that's so steep. I'm impressed by your steepness. I think it's called the incline, actually. Instead, Declan spent about 5 minutes running beside this girl before realizing just how fast the machine was going. Kyle told us there was a few seconds where he saw Declan stumble that he wanted to help him, and then he remembered just how much of a creep Declan had been and decided just to let this magical event happen. Yeah, get your phone out, a little video for posterity. I hope he gets flung backwards into like one of those giant mirrors, you know? That's what would make it the most magical for me. Declan stumbled a few more times and desperately tried to turn the treadmill off, but it wasn't happening. Yes, this is why the disc, you see. The machine eventually got the best of him, and Declan went flying. Let's take a minute to remember that this wouldn't happen if he hadn't been such a show-off and just clipped the emergency stop string thingy to his shirt. Needless to say, the creep that had been following you around the gym making a complete arse of himself did seem to cheer that girl up. Honestly, I think everybody in the gym that wasn't Declan was cheered up by that, except the owner who has to replace the mirror. Kyle had offered to drop Declan off at home, getting death glares from Declan for laughing at him. He was more than happy to tell us the story while Declan went to his brother to bitch about females and bad friends. He actually didn't go back to the gym for a few weeks after that. Must have been too embarrassed. Hilarious. This was awesome news for the poor girl he'd been following at the gym, but yeah, not so great for us. It's not too fun when you come home after a long day at work, gasping for a cuppa, only to have to wait a half hour because Declan's doing cardio workouts in the kitchen. Don't you guys got a yard or something like that? I think the Brits call it a garden. Go do it in the garden, Declan! Our next story is called Can You See Me New? Opie says I really wasn't sure what to call this one, so apologies for the kinda creepy title. Yeah, I guess it didn't strike me as creepier than anything else that we do here. This story happened around the time that Carrie started going out with a girl from college. We'll just call her Mia. And they didn't go out for very long, choosing to just stay friends. But as you can imagine, Mike and Janice, but especially Janice, were not happy about this. They barely acknowledged Mia's existence, which could be seen as more of a blessing than a curse, actually. And whenever they did speak to her, it was always to give some sort of condescending relationship advice. Yeah, these two look like they've really got it together. They sit there and rock together, and I guess that's something. Personally, I think you should push each other towards bigger and better things, but yeah, nobody's thinking like, not Mike and Janice. They would tell us stuff like, Carrie just got a new dress today. You mind to tell her that she looks pretty? Or, she's not having a good day today. You should just let her speak and just listen to her. I am honestly shocked that Mia didn't smack a bitch. They were condescending assholes to her, and she just nodded and smiled her way through it. Yeah, unfortunately, if you're the new one to the social circle, you kinda gotta feel it out. When's the last time you told Janice she looked pretty, Mike? You were lying. Anyway, one thing in particular that Mike and Janice didn't like was the little inside jokes, as the beard liked to call them, that Mia and Carrie had. They weren't really inside jokes at all, though. You see, where Carrie and myself grew up, the show Still Game was and is really popular. I did watch the entire thing on Netflix. I don't know if I really get it 100%, but I like shows about grumpy old men being grumpy old men, because now I'm turning into a grumpy old man now. We like Still Game to the point that most people can't even go a full day without coming out with a quote to the show. Mia and Carrie's favorite one was, "Can you see me new?" I get it. Whenever they were meeting up or saw each other in the street, they'd text, "Can you see me new?" to each other. And that was it. Literally just a couple quoting their favorite TV show. But Mike and Janice still managed to make it awkward. God, I wish my wife loved Peep Show half as much as I did. That's okay. The ones who get it, get it. Can't connect on everything. Basically, we'd all planned to go out for a drink with a bunch of mutual friends, which unfortunately meant that the Beard clan would be coming along. Janice had decided that she wanted to join in with Carrie and Mia's inside joke, and texted Carrie when they were on their way to the meeting point. However, as she later admitted, she couldn't remember the exact quote and decided to wing it a little bit. This resulted in Carrie getting text that simply read, "We're watching you. Can you see us?" Mate, how fucking ominous is that? A little bit. I'm gonna presume it's not from an anonymous number, which does help, but I still don't want to get that text. The "We're watching you" text was sent separately and didn't have the X's that Janice often added to her text, so we assume that must have been a first draft that was sent by mistake, but like still, dude, why? She just wants to be part of the joke. She wants to be included in something so badly. Like, I clocked that from the moment we started this series, but at a certain point I gotta throw my hands up and be like, I don't know what to tell you, okay? I don't have to fucking include you. I felt out the vibe and the vibe wasn't there. What do you want from me, really? Whatever. Janice got a little defensive when Carrie asked her about it and said that it wasn't her fault that she got the quote wrong because she and Mike, quote, "don't watch that kind of shit." Okay, well then why the hell would you do it in the first place? Yeah, because I want to be included in the thing without liking the thing that I'm being included in. Is that... Do I have that right? Anyway, that's pretty much it. Carrie and Mia went out for about 2 months, but decided to just be friends instead. You should have seen the look on Janice's face when she found out that they'd broken up, but would still be hanging out with each other. I've never seen a face go from pure happiness to absolute hatred so quickly in my life. Janice has some issues, man. It's really quite sad. If she went out in the world, you know, she might be able to meet somebody. But what she wants is to meet somebody who, like, lives in the same house with her. Which just don't make no sense. That don't make no fucking sense. That's going to turn into disaster, but I guess no more than their life has been already. Living in a neckbeard nest is about the most disastrous situation I can think of. Anyway, we have another story here called Halloween Kink, with a question mark next to it. I'll probably count it. It's fine. Basically, this is about the time that Mike and Janice got it into their heads that I had a thing for Michael Myers. Weird, but okay. Now, I absolutely love horror movies, says OP, specifically the Halloween franchise. I saw the movie when I was about 6, and I just fell in love with the movies from there. A few months into living with the Beards, before the living room became an uninhabitable mess, thank you, Declan, I'd been curled up on the couch watching Halloween and video calling with a mutual friend. I'd made a joke about her having a crush on someone from her favorite horror film, and she fired back with a joke about me fancying Michael, jokingly referring to him as Daddy Michael in the process. Mike and Janice were in the kitchen getting food and had overheard her remark. Oh yeah, did you hear that thing clearly said in a joking tone? Okay, well let's take it way too seriously. Perfect. Awesome. This is something that they commonly did. If Carrie and I were talking to someone on the phone or whatever and weren't in our room, then Mike and Janice would always conveniently be somewhere close so that they just happened to overhear whatever we were talking about. Or if Mike was in the middle of a game and didn't want to leave, they'd keep their bedroom door open to eavesdrop. It's just so shameless. What do I have to do in my own fucking house? The NSA's already listening, not you guys too. Come on! Yeah, I just write everything on a whiteboard now. This is what I've been reduced to. This is how I'm forced to communicate in my own goddamn house! Apparently, Mike and Janice found the thought of me being attracted to a literal horror movie killer to be cute and endearing. Mike made a comment about how, if I wanted to spend the night with Michael, he'd be more than happy to get a mask and help me out with that. He said it in a tone that could be considered joking, so I just sort of awkwardly chuckled and went back to talking to my friend. Yeah, thank you for making it weird and embarrassing for me. Clearly you weren't included in this fucking conversation, Mike. You're the schlubbiest Michael Myers in existence. Pull yourself together! Anyway, yeah, they got me a fucking Michael Myers mask. Of course they did. It wasn't my birthday or Christmas or any other gift-giving holiday. They just handed it to me, and I swear they looked so giddy that it was kinda creepy. It took literal months for me to convince them that I did not have a thing for Michael Myers. Like, I do love the Halloween movie and Michael Myers, but if that bitch comes at me with a knife, you can be damn sure I'm running in the opposite direction. He is a big, scary bastard. Not really anything else to this particular tale. Just Mike and Janice being a couple of roasters. I'm gonna stop here because it's getting pretty long. I promise you peeps that the next post will delve into the drama that led to our eventual escape from life with the Beard clan and all the trouble that followed it. Bye, guys. Oh, I'll be seeing you again quite soon, OP. Just like Michael Myers, I'll pop up behind you. Ree, ree, ree. That's the psycho sound. That's dumb. Honestly, yeah, the Michael Myers mask was something that might excite you, but it wasn't as explicit as some other choices they could have made. They really thought they were playing 4D chess with this one, and really they wasted, I don't know, how much could it cost? $1.50 at fucking Party City? Whatever. I want to hear the Gubbins' take on all three of these tales, so please do, boys.
Declan run fast, Declan fall faster, love to see it. Then Janice send creepy message, me watching to Janice and it make me cringe so deep they buy mask. Say haha funny, not funny, that mask, not gift, that threat, watch your back around Daddy Mike, Gubbins.
Was it me or was that all like super disconnected and weird? It didn't make any sense on what you said. But okay, cool, let's hit Dark Gubbins next, why not?
The treadmill didn't just stop Declan, it judged him. Janice's text radiates more restraining order energy than a house with a blue box over it. Lastly, they heard Michael Myers and thought, finally, a man with her standards, silent, masked, and fictional. Dark Gubbins.
Sick burns? I don't know what the hell the blue box things mean. Are you guys feeling okay? Is something going on? Do you need to talk about it? I'm here if you want to talk about it. Or we could just move on into the next post and we'll see how that one goes. Living with two neckbeards and a legbeard, part number 6. The escape. There is no escape, truly, but you know, for now. we slipped the noose, for now. Hey, wonderful Reddit peoples. So I think we finally got into the part in this train wreck of a series where we start to get into the drama that eventually led to Carrie and myself finally moving out and cutting contact with the Beard clan. And well, yeah, no time like the present. Oh yeah, before I forget, the YouTuber Moonhorse has been covering our tales on his channel. Glad you're enjoying these stories, pal. Yeah, Moonhorse a good guy. Thanks for covering them. Your Neckbeard voice is on point. Also, thanks to my friend in the DMs who let me know about his channel. It's pretty awesome. Anywho, there's some story, but first a trigger warning. There are talks of potential outing and Declan having a weird obsession with a technically underage character. Just a little warning in case that makes anyone uncomfortable. There's going to be a shitload of trigger warnings in the next entry too, so be warned. We're going to the darkest depths, are we? I guess so. I was hoping it would be an explosive ending that we could all laugh at, but considering the sexual deviance that Mike and Janice are, I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised. Anyway, if you folks have read the previous posts, you'll know that living with this clan was, to put it frankly, a complete fucking nightmare. Toward the end, we were living in an absolute pigsty of a flat with one temperamental man-child and two mostly toothless creeps that simply could not take a hint. Burn it to the ground, that's my advice. Now, toward the end of our time living with this clan, we were completely worn down. Every day with these three, well, mostly Mike and Janice, honestly, was absolutely exhausting. We couldn't chill in our own flat because it was an absolute mess, and we couldn't go out with friends because the beards would invite themselves along and freak out if we ever told them that they couldn't. Go ahead, fucking freak out. Truth be told, I don't even like you. I've been talking a lot about the line in the sand during this series, and yeah, I don't know if it'll ever really happen. Anyway, not to mention, Mike and Janice's attempts to win Carrie and myself over had gotten a lot more persistent. In the last couple months before we moved out, they'd actually started going into our bedroom and taking our belongings. What the fuck? Lock for the door, first of all. Second of all, give me all my shit back before I hit you hard. With wood. They would hide it somewhere in the flat, so we'd have to spend time with them to look for it. I hate them. Everything they've done previously, it's small potatoes compared to how much I hate them now. What the fuck is this? You think I got time for your stupid baby bullshit games? I'm so over it. We suspected that it was them for a while. It seemed like our stuff was never where we left it, and then we'd find it someplace odd, e.g. in the kitchen cabinets or behind the television. Carrie confirmed this when she got home early from work and found Mike in our bedroom, busy swiping the mascara from her makeup kit, which was something that got lost fairly often. What the fuck is the end game here? Just to spend more time helping you look for your mascara. I'd rather just go buy mascara again than interact with you. Eventually you'll run out of hiding places and I'll start finding mascara everywhere. And then it's like I bought my mascara supply for the whole year or whatever. I don't know how much you need. The beards would also look for any reason to initiate physical contact. Not that they weren't already really touchy-feely, especially in past instances, like when we'd been drunk, but it had started to become an everyday occurrence with them. Janice had grown particularly fond of styling Carrie's hair. It was great. See, Carrie would spend about half an hour in the morning styling her hair and making it look absolutely perfect, and then a little while later, Janice would undo all of Carrie's hard work and run her greasy hands through Carrie's hair until she looked like she was caught in a fucking hurricane. Oh, Janice, she's such a helpful person. How about don't touch my hair? I have it the way I like it. All of this shit could be so easily avoided, but it's everybody involved's own personal failings in communication. I understand not wanting to rock the boat, but aren't you frustrated? I genuinely wonder if she ever noticed that Carrie always washed her hair after one of those hairdressing sessions. Mike had also gotten into the habit of lifting me up, which was rather irritating. There was a bit of a height difference that he loved to draw attention to. He was about 6'2", and I was about 5'3". Carrie told me to write "and under 5'4". Yeah, not really much to add to that other than it was really annoying, and he'd often do it when I was carrying something, so I couldn't flail around to get him to drop me. We'll just hit him with the thing you're carrying. This seems to be a pretty easy solution. He is like a foot taller than you, so you gotta hit him really hard, but I believe in your ability. He'll stop after just a couple times of that. Declan hadn't been much better either. Around the time we moved out, he'd been getting warnings from the job center that his benefits would get stopped because he wasn't actively looking for work. Needless to say, he wasn't too pleased about this, and as a result, he'd been getting snippy with us whenever we spoke to him. This led to the event that was partially the reason for us moving out, but more on that in a bit. Put your finger in his face. Say, don't get snippy with me. I don't have to take shit from a job center guy, okay? Why don't you be a good little lapdog and go suckle that teat for more of them benefits, huh? All this was around the time when Carrie and I had started doing some extra shifts at work to save some money to move out. We were coming up to that time when we'd decide if we wanted to renew our lease. It was a yearly thing, and we wanted to be prepared to get the hell out of there. We still hadn't found a place to stay yet, but my dad and Carrie's sister had offered us a place at their houses after hearing what had happened. This caused its fair share of family drama, but that's a whole other thing. We told the Beards about our plans to move out, and told them that we would cover our share of the rent for the month after we moved out, but they'd have to sort something out after that. They didn't believe us, however. Why? I've finally communicated the thing, and they don't even listen. Oh, I guess that's why you didn't bother communicating the thing earlier. Even after we showed them the text conversations we'd had with the landlord, giving him notice that we planned to move out, they still insisted that it wasn't going to happen. In Declan's words, we'd be crawling back to them after the first week. You think so, huh? So, what is it that led to us moving out? Well, a few things. First off, there was the constant harassment from Mike and Janice. And then there was also the constant stress of having to walk on eggshells around Declan in case he'd end up having some sort of temper tantrum. Plus, like the general messiness of the flat. But that is really just the basic stuff. Oh yeah, small potatoes. We're working top to bottom, ain't we? Give me every grievance. A few months prior, Carrie was told she'd been put on a waiting list for top surgery. I mean, sure, she had a hell of a wait in front of her, but it was worth it if she was going to be happier in her own skin. She posted out to her Facebook almost immediately after, telling myself and a few friends and family she hadn't thought anything of it until we realized that, oh shit, the Beards were friends with her on Facebook too. So yes, of course, the Beards instantly bombarded her post with several comments congratulating her and telling her how happy they were for her. And that was all fine and dandy until they got home. Couldn't keep up the facade for long, huh? See, they had assumed for some reason that I wouldn't know the news, as I'm not always the most active on Facebook, because God forbid Carrie be able to just text me. So yeah, they decided to tell me themselves. Yeah, awesome. Let's buy a mastectomy cake. You guys want to go halvesies? Carrie explained that I already knew, as myself and our friend James, briefly mentioned in part 3, went with her to the clinic and stayed in the waiting room whilst she found out. Found out what? That they're gonna do it? Did they schedule a date? It seems like something that could have been an email, that's all I'm saying. The NHS is already overloaded. Why are we... You know what? It's fine. It's all fine. Their faces dropped, says OP. They began to question her, asking her why they hadn't been invited to come along to the appointment. Why did you tell me before telling them? I always went with her to her appointments. Why couldn't they have a turn? Simple, because I'd rather die than spend another minute around you. And Janice had even started complaining about Carrie only discussing surgery with a small group of people, excluding them, and she'd come out with things like, but OP is gay! He's never gonna see them! Why don't you want to talk about it with someone who knows what you're going through? Okay, there's a good amount of inappropriate shit in that statement. 1, Carrie doesn't have to discuss her transition with anyone she doesn't want to. 2, Carrie and I are best friends and have been for years. Of course, she's more likely to speak to myself and other close friends about this. 3, Janice is a cis woman who's never had surgery of any sort. 4, she does realize that despite loving Carrie to pieces, I was never expecting to see her chest after surgery, and she wasn't planning to show me, like, there are lines, honey. Not for Janice. You haven't drawn the line firm enough. They don't listen well, so line in the sand doesn't work, but a line of napalm, that'll stop them cold. Also, 5, again, Carrie doesn't have to discuss her transition with anyone she doesn't want to. But see, Mike and Janice are being like super slimy here because they understand the optics of it, you know? They don't want to seem like weirdos on Facebook getting mad on the internet, so they just do it in real life. Be far too pushy in real life where there's not the same support system. They are devious as well as deviant. Devious deviants. This topic did become their favorite in the months leading up to us moving out. They'd constantly bring up Carrie's surgery, giving her advice for how big she needs to get them. Oh, I think I said mastectomy earlier. I had that backwards. Wrong surgery. We're putting stuff in, not taking it out. Because, you know, it's not like Carrie is her own person and can make decisions about her body on her own. Yeah, just a weird, horrible discussion to have. I don't want any further part of it. They would send her surgery pictures, photos of girls with a larger chest to give her an idea of what they thought. Mate, fuck off, says LP. And they would constantly pester her about how long she had to wait. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only reason you're even pretending to ask me questions is so you can sink your claws further into my own life. All right? I've got it handled. I decided to share a small piece of that with you. It doesn't mean we're gonna fucking push the whole boat out. To use OP's own words, mate, fuck off. They also decided to talk in their usual loud tones about Carrie's transition when we were in public places. Oh, God. Again, I'd like to think they're bumbling and sort of doing it on accident, but the fact that they, you know, conceal themselves and don't get weird in the Facebook comments kind of lets me know that they have the social awareness to realize what they're doing. And still, they were pretty much outing Carrie to anyone who happened to overhear them. Now, we don't live in a super transphobic area, but there are always ball bags around. So what they were doing was pretty fucking dangerous. Someone could potentially overhear this and harm Carrie because of these fucking roasters. Now, while I do think they know what they're doing, I don't think they're thinking about, you know, how far the repercussions might reach. At least, I hope not. That would be extra dastardly. Anyway, they intentionally went out of their way to bring this topic up whenever they could. Not like they hadn't been insanely inappropriate before, but this subject in particular made Carrie's dysphoria a hell of a lot worse. It wasn't hard to see how badly this was impacting her mental health. This was when we'd started trying to put a bit of extra money away. We thought maybe we'd be able to handle another year or year and a half with this pair to get the money together for another flat. Turns out, we couldn't. Yeah, another year of hell. Every day feels like eternity. I can't do it. Declan, as stated earlier, was becoming much more of a nightmare to live with, thanks to his aggression. There was an incident a couple of weeks ago before we officially decided to move out, where he'd smashed a cup against the wall during a temper tantrum. See, like I said in my first post, Declan was a massive Gotham fan, and his favorite character in the show happened to be Poison Ivy, aged up version, at least. Here's a spoiler warning for people who haven't seen the show, but basically Ivy's about 13 or 14 in the first season, gets her arm grabbed by someone who ages people up, and winds up looking like a 20-something-year-old woman. Ah, yes, the curious case of the writer's barely disguised fetish making it to airwaves. It happens all the time. Declan, of course, had a massive crush on this aged-up version of Ivy, but he would always talk about how attractive her personality was, and how he wanted a woman who could act that cute and look that sexy. He would bring up her immaturity and how attractive he found it. Of course the character is immature. She's a fucking wee girl. Yeah, it seems like some weird loophole type of shit, you know? OP says, yes, the character physically aged. Yes, the new actress was an adult, but he failed to see how weird it was that he had such a crush on a character who was technically still a child. He even made a remark about how the original actress was cute enough. Again, she was a fucking child, but it was nice to see the character evolve into such a seductive creature. It's really weird. I think there are some dark things in Declan's heart, but like, who wants to go plumbing around in there looking for him? Fucking... I can't fix it. I don't even want to attempt to try. Okay, good job, Declan. You loopholed me. Because of the time fast-forward age-you-up guy. Maybe he could just age me up until I'm a corpse, so I might find some escape from this hell. Declan decided, for whatever reason, to ask me about my opinions on poison ivy, apparently fully expecting me to agree with him. I did not. Instead, I told him that the character was still technically a young teenager, since, again, he had more of a crush on the character than the actress, if that makes sense. Yeah, of course, perfect sense, because he thinks he found the loophole. He's like, Chris Hansen isn't he can't get me for this one. And you're right, that's true, he can't, but I am not as principled as Chris Hansen, okay? Anyway, he tried to argue that this was the same as me having a crush on Jerome's actor, as he was originally 18/19 in the show. I have a crush on Cameron Monaghan, who's older than me, not his character, and even then Jerome isn't classed as a minor. Don't know who we're talking about, definitely don't care. When Declan told me all this, he got pretty pissed off. Eventually, as the argument went on, he decided that the best way to get me to agree with him was to throw his thankfully empty cup at the wall closest to me. There you go. Mentally outclassed, so you resort to violence. Oh, that's why you go to the gym so often. So you don't have to bother making words or thinking of things. However, OP says, the thing that made us decide that we were getting the hell out of there, money be damned, was the night that Declan had found out his money had been suspended until he proved that he was looking for work. You didn't think they'd do it? They fucking do it, man. How hard is it to look for work? You go and you fill out the thing. Keep the money hose on. He told the people at the job center he was applying for a bunch of jobs every day, when in actuality, he hadn't applied for a job in months. He'd sometimes fill applications out and take photos of them to make it look like he was applying, but more often than not, he'd come up with an excuse for not having the right proof or something. I honestly have no idea how he got away with this, because the job center can be pretty friggin' strict. Yes, he got assigned to a caseworker who also doesn't give a shit. I guess the most fascinating part of that is him filling the thing out. You fucking did the hard part. You filled it out. Just go hand it in. I guess he just doesn't want the job is what it is. Anyway, Declan had been in a pretty foul mood since finding out that he was going to have to go and actually look for work. He'd snapped at me for being in his way when he was trying to get into the kitchen, and I rolled my eyes and snapped back at him. I think I said something about throwing another cup at me, and Declan just snapped. Not gonna lie to you folks, he genuinely looked like he wanted to kill me. Thankfully, though, he decided to just push me instead. I kind of stumbled back, fell on my ass, smacked the back of my head on the side of the kitchen counter, though that was mainly just because of how I'd landed, not the force that Declan pushed me with, if that makes sense. You're letting him get away with pushing you in this moment. I want you to realize that. If he wasn't being a man-child, you wouldn't have been pushed. If you weren't pushed, there's no way you would have hit your head on the kitchen counter. You're gonna sit here and tell me it's because of how you landed? Oh, fuck, I feel terrible for you, OP. I hope you find some self-respect really soon, okay? I mean, you did get up and out of this situation. As far as tests go, I'd say you passed this one, but I don't know. It feels like we have further to go. And I hope you've gone there. OP says there wasn't any serious injury, no blood or anything. It just hurt like a bitch. Yeah, the only bleeding was under my skin. Don't worry, guys. I'm just bleeding a little inside of my skull, but I think it's from... Is that what happens? You have a stroke? I think you just go into a coma. Don't worry. I would Trafan myself. That's how tough I am. I did my own lobotomy a few weeks back. So much happier now. Now, it's kind of my own fault, says OP. Again, the self-blame. Stop it. I did decide to be a sarcastic bastard to a big pissed-off asshole who could probably snap me like a twig, but still, who the hell does that? He literally only had to wait a minute until I moved a couple things out of the kitchen. I think he's just never had to face repercussions. One day he's gonna piss off a bastard bigger than him, and then we'll see how that really works out. Carrie was absolutely livid when she found out what had happened. She'd been out at work, and I'd texted her asking if she could pick up some painkillers on her way home. I'd have done it myself, but I was still dizzy and felt sick. Yeah, a concussion will do that. When she asked what happened, I told her the truth, and she flipped. Swear to God, I never seen Carrie look so angry in my entire life. She went off on Declan, Mike, and Janice. Told Declan it was no wonder that his mom kicked him out, and how Mike and Janice were just as bad as Declan for even trying to defend him. Now, she was already in a terrible place mentally because of this lot, so she just sort of let her frustrations out then, yelling at them for absolutely everything they had done. Yeah, I'm pretty sure women's frustrations all goes into like a big bucket, and you don't even know what's in the bucket until it starts overflowing everywhere. You're like, oh, it's not really, you're not mad about just the one thing, it's these 8 things. And I'm glad it finally got said out loud. I don't think they'll have the self-reflection to take any action on it, but you get what you get. We wound up staying with some friends for a couple of nights. Anyway, that was the point that we decided we were definitely getting the hell out of there. Once we'd arranged to stay with our respective family members, we told the Beard clan that we'd be moving out, and as I said before, they didn't believe us. We did wind up having to live there another couple weeks while we sorted some stuff out. We waited until the Beards were out, and then got some friends and family to help us move our stuff out of the flat. See, I love that. Just ghosted. It's my favorite way to do it. It was a part furnished flat, so we didn't have a lot of furniture to take with us. Just a bed and some smaller pieces. We decided to leave the sofa bed as a gift for the clan. Besides, no amount of cleaning would ever properly disinfect that thing. Needless to say, when the Beards came home and realized that we'd actually been telling them the truth, they were pretty pissed off. There was a hell of a lot of drama after this incident, and the Beards had opted to make our lives a living hell for a good while afterwards. Yeah, some people just can't fucking let go. Opie says I had originally planned to add the screenshots. There are a shit ton of them, by the way, to this post, but they all take place after we move out, so those will be in the next post, as this has already gotten pretty damn long, even by my standards. So, yeah, in the next post. Focusing on the drama after we moved out. Sorry, folks. I'll try and get the next part of the story uploaded ASAP, though. It's probably going to take a wee while to sort through all the screenshots, so that'll be fun. Fond memories. Bye, guys. Bye, OP. I don't know how many screenshots. You said there's a lot. We might have to do another video. I might have lied about the thing I said about wrapping it up today, but, yeah. Sometimes that's just how it be when you play it by ear, isn't it? I'd like to get the Gubbins' take on all of this. Probably relief is what everybody's feeling. Getting the hell out of the beard nest. Yes, good idea.
Beard cave full of gremlins. Mike Janik touch grab, steal shiny things, hiss about body not theirs, tribe exile for less. Declan throw cup, then throw you. He small man with big tantrum. You leave nest, lock door, salt earth. Gubbins.
I don't know if salting the earth is gonna work. They're just gonna lick the salt up off the floor. Tastes like corn chips. How do you feel, Dark One?
2 scavengers pawing at your boundaries, cosplaying supportive, while casually endangering Carrie. Outing someone in public is not ignorance, it's malice with a smile. You executed the only correct move in a rigged game. Vanish, document, and let consequence do the slow work. Dark Gubbins.
Damn, Dark Gubbins. You and I are so on the same vibe, you know? Just, sometimes things work themselves out. I'll be over here. Please don't let me know if you need me. I guess I'll check out the third part and see how it looks. If we could shove it in, then we will. Well, seems to me there's a whole story and then like 15 to 20 screenshots, so we're gonna have to save it for another day. But I do appreciate you guys rolling with me as always. Sign up on the YouTube or Patreon memberships if you'd like to support. Fourth wall for the merch. We also got podcasts out there on Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Podbox, Cast Stream, wherever the hell you listen to podcasts. It's fine. We're probably there. If I'm not, let me know, and I'll make steps to get it there. Anyway, I do appreciate you watching. I'd like to remind you, as I always do, friends, that you are loved, you're worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I will see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.